Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
The question is that the report of the Local Government and Environment Committee on the 2008-09 financial review of the Ministry for the Environment be noted. Those of that opinion will say aye. To the contrary, no. The ayes have it. I understand that the next financial review members wish to debate is the financial review of the New Zealand Police. Will members please turn to the Law and Order Committee's report? The question is that the report of the Law and Order Committee on the 2008-09 financial review of the New Zealand Police be noted. The Honourable Clayton Cosgrove.
Brief time we've got available, I want to make a couple of remarks concerning the funding of the New Zealand Police. And I'm pleased that the Minister's in the chair because, of course, it was this Minister and still is this Minister who makes a great play of talking tough and saying that she will back the police. And, of course, they don't like this debate because, unlike a select committee, they can't shut this debate down as the chair over there has tried to do in the Law and Order Select Committee. There's a worrying trend with the New Zealand Police, and it's not about the police officers themselves. The trend is that this Minister, after talking tough and making a large amount of promises and grinning like a Cheshire cat and having a wee giggle as she does, sir, has embarked on a series of cuts which are evidenced in the documentation that's before us. And they don't like it, of course. It was this Minister, of course, who said she was going to put 600 new police on the streets by the end of 2011, when we really know, of course that sounds good in theory, but we really know in practice that it will actually be approximately 380 of those 600 officers were already promised, and or before she said it, hang on, you've got to follow promises with funding. They were already funded and being trained under the last Labor government. And we know the obsession that the Minister has with her own patch, which is Counties Manukau. And she says, and her Prime Minister celebrated, of course, the 200th graduate and police officer to go into Counties Manukau. And okay, that's fair enough. That's fair enough. Because we know that Counties Manukau, of course, has some unique crime and violence problems. But here's the rub. We found out, courtesy of an OIA, courtesy, sir, of one District Commander, Mike Bush, that the Minister has only provided 25, according to her own departmental papers, 25, she now says it's 43, but 25 police cars for the so-called 300 police that she's putting into Counties Manukau. Now, District Commander Bush made a very interesting point. He said that is one vehicle for every 12 officers. The Minister says it's now 43. Let's not quibble. Even if it is 43, it is far less than the normal ratio. And of course, the District Commander Mike Bush comments in the OIA memo, he says this ratio of 1 to 12 is, quote, considerably lower than the current ratio, which ranges from 1 in 4 to 1 in 6. And this is the Minister, of course, so this is not a bureaucrat, this is a senior police officer, probably the first senior police officer at District Commander level that has questioned the rationale for this policy, as they sort of interject and fluff about over there, because of course the member for the West Coast who's lost cars in his patch, of course, won't actually stand up and protest that in this House, won't stand up for his local police force on the West Coast, of course, hides away. I say this as well to that Minister, that this is the Minister, of course, who required, according to another District Commander, District Commander Cliff in Canterbury, who's verified it publicly in documentation that's been tabled, that of course it was this government and this Minister that required a $21 million cut in police resources, manifest firstly in 340 odd cars, or 10% of the vehicle fleet going. And she said, of course, the Minister said, and I quote her, "Oh, it won't be frontline vehicles, it'll be things like vans," she said. Well, even in my patch, the community cop has to now drive the police prison van around. The van didn't go, his squad car has gone, and the youth aid officer in Kaiapoi now has to get a pool car when she can get it to chase down the young offenders. So what we've got is a lot of rubbish, the member says. Well, I invite that member who chairs the Law and Order Committee to go to the West Coast, to go to the Kaiapoi Police Station, to go to the Rangiora Police Station, to go up and talk to District Commander Mike Bush in Counties Manukau and ask him why he said what he said. Because I don't think District Commander Bush is a liar. I think he is a man of his word. I think he's an honourable person, and unlike the Minister and the politicians in this chamber, he is a frontline, trained, professional, crime-fighting police officer, and if anybody would know about the resources that police need, it would be that District Commander. As the Minister laughs and looks like the sort of political version of the Cheshire Cat, she's good at that. She stands up and says, "Oh, Mr. Speaker, Mr. Chairman," but she doesn't match her rhetoric with resources. The question I have for this Minister is why, if the police had all these resources, did they not come to us and ask us to cut their budget?
Order.
Mr. Chair.
The Honourable Judith Collins.
Mr. Chair, it's really great to be able to